recently I was talking with Blue Alpha Gear and I got them to send me their Lite Belt. So we're going to go over my initial thoughts of this belt and then we're going to head out to the range with it. Let's go over the main belt first. So this is their Lite Belt. It is made, I believe, with a Tegris core, and then it's all sewn together with laser cut Cordura. I'll leave a link somewhere, either up in the corner or down in the description, of them actually going over the full specs and build of this belt. But I believe this is an 1.25 inch belt, and it seems pretty sturdy so far. I decided to go with the GT buckle, the polymer buckle, instead of your regular Cobra buckle. I have numerous belts with Cobra buckles, and I kind of wanted to see how this polymer buckle would hold up. Seems like a pretty sturdy belt so far, though. I mean, at least it holds its shape with no weight on it or anything. Molly spacing seems pretty nice. It is a very thin belt, which I'll go over here in just a second. One of the things I was kind of interested in doing a little bit of research on this belt was the double adjustment on both sides and also the tapered strap. Seems pretty interesting. Let's go to the inner belt. So the inner belt, I believe, is 1.5 inches and seems kind of like most standard belts. You have a little plastic buckle here. You can cinch that down. Velcro, laser cut, nylon webbing. Honestly, the inner belt seems thicker than the outer belt. Let's see if I can get that in there. The inner belt definitely seems a little bit thicker than the outer belt, which is kind of different. Flatline Fiber Co. dump pouch. I've been interested in trying this dump pouch only for a couple of reasons. One being that you can put this on your mag pouch and kind of saving space. When I go over the thickness of the belt here in a second, I'll show you my Haley Strategic belt. I run an Edgar Sherman, and it kind of takes up space. So I'm interested to see how I feel about this mag pouch. Decided to try their leg strap. It has a Cobra buckle on it, and then your typical little plastic retention strap, and then they also have a little elastic strap right here. Personally, I don't know what this is for or if it has a purpose. My first thought was, you have this tensioned to certain pair of pants or something, and maybe you wear something that's a little bit thicker, gives you a little bit more access, and also maybe that little piece of strip right there can be used for your shot timer or something, or kind of whatever you want to do with it. Also went with their little belt loop clip. It's kind of your standard clip. Probably just gonna see how I run some gloves on this, or if I want to run this at all, but went with it. Before I go over the mag pouches, I actually went with their fabric molly straps because I haven't tried anything like these before. Usually I've just done one wrap or malice clips, or just ran the molly that was already on. Now the mag pouches. The mag pouches are pretty nice. I mean, I believe you have Cordura on the front here, obviously the back as well. Looks like the back is doubled, so you have this layer here that goes all the way around, and then you have the molly layer, and then you have elastic on the sides. You do have spots for bungees. Since this is on a belt, I didn't want to run bungee, and it looks like they actually have, see if I can get this to focus in here. They have, I don't know if you can see, that little black spot back there is actually like a piece of rubber or leather. I'm not entirely sure, but I guess that's what kind of helps keeps the tension. Honestly, the pistol pouches, I don't know why, they just seem really small to me, but maybe it's because they're not on a belt or have mags in them or anything. But same story, molly or laser cut Cordura, and then your elastic and that rubber, leather, whatever's on the inside there. Let's run some mags through them real quick though. So I have a couple different mags here for the rifle. I got your standard steel mags, the P mags, and then obviously Tactical Game sponsor Men2 Mod 3 mags. And then for pistol, I have standard Glock mags that have hair on them, an ETS mag, and then a Men2's mag. Let's run pistol first. Standard Glock mag. Seems pretty well in there. Not super tight. I'm in 2. About the same. Not much different. And ETS. ETS seems a little bit grippier. I don't know if it's plastic choice or what have you, but I don't know, just seems a tad bit grippier. Rifle mag, let's go with the steel mag. The rifle mag is definitely in there. That's not going anywhere. Now, the only thing with the steel mags is some of them kind of have like sharp edges. So I'm not sure after running these for a while how well that's going to do on your elastic. But it holds it. P-mag, kind of the same thing. That rifle mag is, that mag pouch is in there. And a Min 2 Mod 3. Yeah, that's, I would assume it has to do with the surface area, with the rifle mag obviously being bigger, that it has more grip, but those rifle mags are in there when they hit that rubber. Before I get into the thickness of the Lite Belt, I kind of want to show, so this is my S-Tech Kiwi mag mag pouch. The one that I have, I believe, is their shorter one, whatever you want to call it, and just the size of these. The Blue Alpha Gear is about half an inch bigger, so not much different. I'm interested to see how different it is indexing with something that's a half inch bigger than my S-Tacs. But again, this is rolled up right now, is not super big. When it comes out, it has this kind of plastic steel band in it that definitely gives it a lot more surface area. But I mean, you can already see this flatline bag is already smaller, and you actually run this behind your pistol mag, so it'll save me a little bit more space over here. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Let's go over the thickness of the belt. I have a Haywood Strategic D3, the Blue Alpha Gears Light, and then Safe Life Defenses. I believe this is just their tactical belt. So you can kind of see the differences here. This is the Safe Life belt. This is kind of more of like your duty style belt. It is definitely thicker. Lite Belt, definitely a little bit more structure, but it is thinner and obviously lighter than the Safe Life belt. And then obviously this Haley belt has a lot of stuff on it, but it is thinner and a little bit more, I guess, pliable than these other belts. But the Haley Strategic belt, you're coming in at about 8.3 millimeters. The Blue Alpha Gear Light, I've actually got it at about, on the thick part of the Molly, I have it at 5.9, 5.8. And then the Safe Life Defense, when you're getting into something a little bit more duty driven, I have it at 7.4. Take that as you will. Now, this video isn't really going to be a comparison of these three belts. I just kind of wanted to give you a more of a comparison and a look at how thin and light this belt is compared to something like the D3 or a kind of your standard duty belt. But now I want to get this belt together, and we're gonna head to the range and kind of give my initial thoughts, and then I'm gonna wear it and kind of mess with it for about the next month, and then go over my thoughts after that, and kind of give you my pros and cons on this belt and the whole setup itself. Boom, and just like that, we are out at the range. Now, all I gotta say is I hope you guys enjoy these videos, because y'all have me out here looking like PSR today, because it's like 30 degrees and windy. So yeah, I like making content for some reason. Now, what we're gonna do with this belt on the range is I need to test how fit this belt is to me. Now, the inner belt is a little bit smaller than the outer belt, so maybe there will be some Velcro rubbing, some hot spots, maybe.
we're gonna see. Now, if you're like me, I don't like tucking in the shirt. A lot of my shirts, once they get washed, they get smaller. If I tuck it in, my shoulders are just gonna be slouching down, and every time you lift your arms up, your shirt comes out. I don't really care for that. So I don't tuck my shirts in when I run belts. You do you, boo. Now, I have this belt rigged out with my Glock, my Amentu polymer mags, and then I have a 5.56 and 1 Glock mag in here. Sorry, 2 Glock mags in there. And we're just gonna see how this plays out. I'm gonna run down a couple of times, do some light jogs, do some sprints, just really test this belt out. All these mags are loaded, gun is unloaded, and yeah, we're just gonna kind of see what happens here. All right, so my camera is placed at about the 25-yard line. I'm just gonna run down there to about the 100, so we're gonna do about 75-yard jogs, and then maybe throw some sprints in there and kind of move on to other things. Oh God, this is gonna suck. Oh, there's the wind. Okay. Let's do one more. First off, I can tell this is nothing specifically against Flatline Fiber Co., but the dump pouch needs some sort of leg strap, at least when it's weighed down with stuff. It definitely likes to swing. I'm very out of shape. Okay, with the dump pouch being fully weighed down with loaded mags, you can tell it's still a great dump pouch. It's just when it's loaded down, without having some sort of leg strap, it definitely flops around a lot. I know people like T-Rex Arms sell the leg strap. With this one, I think you would just have to sew on a little piece if you wanted it. So far, so good. I don't feel any hot spots just yet. Obviously, this side is a lot more weighed down than this side. Got like 20 pounds of loaded mags over here, but it seems to be holding up pretty well so far. Haven't heard any Velcro come loose. I guess we can try some sprints. Let's throw in some squats. Whew. One thing I noticed with the mags is that they definitely come up into the stomach depending on how you're squatting. That could be with anything really, any belt that you have. Unless you have angles on your mags, I feel like almost any belt that has vertical mags, you're gonna get some sort of stomach or rib shot with a mag. All right, now I'm gonna try reloads from each magazine. We're gonna do 1R1s from the pistol, both magazines, and then rifle under time and see what we get. Now, I will say that I'm wearing kind of big gloves. So I'm gonna try it with the gloves, and then if I get kind of hung up and stuff, then I'll try it one without the gloves and kind of see. But it is also 30 degrees outside. Not my best, 529 in total. From the second pistol position here, these gloves are definitely not helping. Uh, 484, better time that time. Not bad shot placement. 389. All right, I had to go steal a friend's staccato because I'm what you call poor and don't own one. But I want to see how this does with staccato mags. So far, now again, there is the little rubber pad at the bottom. I don't know if the staccato mags are just tapered enough at the top, but it barely touches that little rubber pad. Still a little bit of grip in there, but not as much as like the Glock mags that are a little bit thicker up top. But let's see how this goes with a 1R1. Caught my hoodie there. So that's something to look out for. If you're running a belt, don't wear a fucking hoodie. I do like this gun. This gun is sexy.
back from the range. So let's go ahead, break this belt down, and kind of go over some of the pros and cons that I noticed when using it. First, let's go with the inner belt. Obviously, the inner belt is smaller than the outer belt. I think for my size, I went with the size that I measured was right on the website. For me personally, I feel like this was a little bit too big for me, but I do like how you can kind of really ratchet this belt down. With this, sliding it through, you kind of have that leverage of being able to torque that down and make sure you get your belt nice and tight, and I liked that feature. Other than sizing, which sizing really wasn't a big deal, it still fits. I think I might have been able to go just one size lower, I'm not entirely sure. But other than that, inner belt worked just fine for me. Moving on to the outer belt and kind of how I had it configured. So I only had the mag pouches, nothing on the back, no med kit or anything. And then I was running a True North drop with the Blade Tech holster attachments. I think I stated at the beginning of the video when I did my initial unboxing, but I do like the system of being able to adjust either side. If you get this side the way you want it and you need a little bit more extra room or less room, then you can ratchet down this side or vice versa. I was just running with gloves on here, didn't really need them. I was kind of just utilizing the hook there. The mag pouches, I didn't exactly have a problem with them. They ran very fine. Glock mags seem to work really well in here. I tried the staccato mags, and I believe I set it on the range, but I think they were just a little too narrow at the top to get the full contact of that little grip pad. But other than that, they seemed to work fairly fine. I didn't have anything fall out or really any issue with the staccato mags. It was just I could notice when pulling the mag out, I noticed there was a difference in the resistance from the polymer mags to that narrower metal mag. I would say the only issue I had with this belt with the mag pouches was this rifle pouch is it kind of closes on itself. Now, I don't know if over time that'll work itself out and kind of be a little bit more open like these pistol mags are. I have noticed that it's a little bit harder trying to reinsert a rifle mag. I have left mags in there for a little bit. Maybe I need to leave them in there longer to kind of stretch that out. But I mean, it's really something that I just noticed. Not really a deal breaker. I don't really see a situation where I like quickly need to put in a rifle mag into a mag pouch, but it's just something that I noticed and something that I kind of needed to put out there. For the dump pouch, the only issue I was really running into was when it did have stuff in it, it was flopping around. Now, you could more than likely just sew something onto the back of this and maybe get something from like T-Rex and get that little elastic leg strap or something. It's not a big deal breaker to me, but again, something that I noticed. I don't know if I would ever utilize the pouches that are in this on the inside. There are little elastic pouches. Got some grass in there. There are little elastic pouches for, I believe, like a pin, pistol mags, rifle mag, another pistol mag, and just other little slots for pins or something. I don't know if I would ever utilize those. I do think it gives it good rigidity, though, for the dump pouch, and I sort of like that. Like, if it was all just this material right here and didn't have this elastic in it to give it a little bit more structure, maybe I'd have a little bit more problem with it. So far, I like the dump pouch. I think there's just things that could improve on it, but it's a very good minimalist dump pouch. Not specifically from Blue Alpha Gear. This dump pouch, again, is from Flatline Fiber Co. Moving on to the leg strap. Now, I don't really have a problem with the leg strap. The only modification that I think would be very nice is something like a hole with a grommet so that you can utilize one of the screws to screw it in there and keep it more in place. It's not really, again, a deal breaker. It's just something that maybe you could modify yourself or maybe Blue Alpha could do in the future. I only noticed it because after a while I could get some like ride up or anything on this. It was just kind of uncomfortable after a while of kind of messing with it and readjusting everything. I feel like that grommet might help a little bit more, kind of keep it in place and not have all this movement here. Last thing is the GT buckle. I was very skeptical on the polymer buckle. I still am to an extent. I haven't really put it through testing, as you can kind of see here. Like, there's no marks or anything on it, so I can't say that I did a lot of testing to it. I think it'll work for flat range stuff and stuff like that. If you're doing more duty work with this belt, I would more than likely stick with regular metal Cobra buckle. Nothing against anybody who makes these buckles. It's just, I would think most departments or most entities that you're going to be using this belt with aren't going to want you to use a polymer buckle, if that makes sense. One big takeaway from this belt that I liked and was very interested in was the rigidity of it. For how thin this belt is, it is ridiculously thin, with having the Tegris on the inside. I mean, there's no weight to this belt besides the metal drop here, but there's really no flex in the belt. Like, it holds its shape pretty well for how thin it is. I say no flex as it flexes. Honestly, I would say if you're looking for a lightweight option, this is not a bad belt to go with. In my testing, running around and whatnot, I personally didn't have any hot spots. Used this belt roughly for about the past month and a half, on and off. I personally, again, don't tuck in my shirt. I don't really like that. And I didn't notice any Velcro touching. Now, you possibly get that with the inner belt being smaller than the outer belt, because you are going to be running into space that is not being utilized on the Velcro. So that Velcro is probably going to be touching something. Now, I could have just had a higher waist on my pants that I wasn't really feeling anything, but for the most part, I didn't feel anything. I would say if you're in the market to try something slimmer, something a little bit lighter, that still has rigidity somewhat of a duty belt, this isn't a bad belt to go with. Now, again, I do appreciate Blue Alpha Gear for sending out this belt and all the accessories. Maybe I'll do an updated video later in the year after using it for a little bit longer. So far, the belt holds up well. Let me know what you think about the Blue Alpha belt, and if you have any questions, let me know down below. I appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.
Why did I do that?